everyone, and welcome to episode number 66 of the NordCast. It is Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. I am your host here, Nordic97, joined here with Carter. Welcome back from vacation, Carter. How was it?
I'm back. Nordic is now no longer doing a podcast by himself, so hopefully some of you guys are happy to see me back. But it was a much-needed vacation, to say the least. But happy to be back recording, and could not ask for a better first episode back for me.
Where did you go, and what did you do exactly? I know you kind of went on like a little bit of a road trip. You didn't go anywhere specific, but where?
So we started off. We stayed in Saskatoon for the first day. That was pretty cool. I've never really been out west other than for like flights or anything, so I've never really seen that side of Western Canada, which I guess Sask isn't really Western, but you get the point. I've never really gone out west. And then I went to Edmonton for 3 days. I went to West Edmonton Mall, which that mall is huge. It is.
Yeah.
It is huge.
You see the ice rink? See the ice rink in there?
Yeah, it's nuts. I really want to see like brick tournament there because I feel like that would just be absolutely insane.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, West Edmonton Mall was really cool. That's pretty much all we really did at Edmonton. Then we were in Canmore for 2 days. Couldn't go to Jasper because of all the fires out there. So that really sucks. But I hope everyone in Jasper, who probably not listening to this, but if they are, hope you're all doing okay. It really is shitty, but there's a lot of fires out there, so they kind of know what they're doing and everything like that. So Canmore is really nice. A lot of cool places around there. A lot of great lakes to kind of swim in. The mountains are always cool. And after that, stayed in Calgary for a day, and then had a nice little 12-hour drive back. So that was not fun, but hey, everything else was amazing. So I couldn't have asked for a better trip, and just happy to be back.
That's terrific. All right, it took me about 2.5 minutes to introduce him, but we have a very special guest joining us today. We asked someone from Jets Nation, from the Nations Network, to join us here today to talk about the Winnipeg Jets Nation and all things Winnipeg Jets. We have the guy you've probably seen on the TikTok mainly. We have Angus here today. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. I want to know more about Carter's trip to good old Alberta. That was my stomping grounds growing up, and West Edmonton Mall, that water park. I hope you spent some time in there that last week.
Oh yeah. I was there, spent a day there. Holy, that place it's nuts. It's huge in there. It's awesome.
It's on one of my places to go for sure in the future. I've never been to Canada. I'm an American, so that's definitely something on my list. So we'll get into some of the questions we have here for you today, but it's going to be a little bit different from a lot of the guests we brought on in the other episodes. Usually I'm the one that's asking the questions. Since Carter's the Jets fan here, I want him to ask Angus the questions today. So I'm going to turn it over to Carter, kick up my feet for most of this segment, and yeah, let's get it going.
I get to be the leader today. This is fun. All right, so as Nordic always starts us off, this is a kind of a question we ask pretty much all our guests. Just kind of tell us how you got into hockey, your beginnings with hockey, whether it was fandom or playing it growing up. Just how did you get into hockey?
So growing up, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. So the entertainment for me was AM radio and the CBC. So growing up around Edmonton, I grew up loving the Edmonton Oilers, and Ryan Smith is still the GOAT in my books. Like he's the reason I've got long hair. He's the reason why when I do play hockey, I'm standing in front of the net, taking an absolute beating there, looking for the greasiest goals. So that's kind of how I fell into hockey. And then growing up, just a dedicated Oilers fan. There was 1 year where I was sick and tired of the losing, so I thought, I'll just cheer for the Leafs. And then they got beaten by Boston in 2013. So I was like, well, the Leafs suck. I'm never doing that again. And so actually I moved to Manitoba 8 years ago now, and dedicated Oilers guy. And then I decided I was going to go into radio broadcasting. and I interviewed the guy that started Oilers Nation, and he's just like, "You want to do Jets Nation? Like, you want to get into hockey? Can't get you into Oilers Nation, but you're in Winnipeg. Do you want to do the Jets?" I was like, "You know what? Yeah, let's do the Jets." And the more and more I follow the Jets over the last 5 years now, I'm just like, this team is so exciting to watch because, like, there's no one that you can genuinely hate on this team, but it's just a lot of good guys that you can just genuinely get behind, a lot of blue-collar guys.
Wow. So the creator, so I guess are you the one that, like, created Jets Nation?
No, I wish I was that OG. No, I would just kind of hopped aboard. They killed the website Jets Nation in 2022, and I was working in Dauphin, Manitoba, which is about 3.5 hours away from Winnipeg, and I moved right down to the city, and then 2 weeks later, they're like, "Yeah, we're killing the website." I was like, "Cool, I just moved to Winnipeg for this job. I'm just going to overtake the website, and I'm just going to make this thing roll." So that's just how I kind of overtook Jets Nation. But yeah.
Wow, that wasn't what I was expecting. That's impressive. I didn't think that you would get into it like that. Who was the person they specifically talked to from Oilers Nation?
Wanye Gretz.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's right.
The guy that made me realize you can meme and do hockey stuff at the same time.
I know a few guys from Oilers Nation. Like, I'm good friends with Waz. We connected a lot on TikTok, but I didn't know that part of the story from you. That's actually awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I had this old podcast, which I keep saying I'm going to bring back. One day I will, but it was called A Slice of Beef, if anyone's interested in listening to Wanye Gretz and I talk for 3.5 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone loves the Joe Rogan length of podcasts.
Is that how long they are? Like 3.5 hours?
Most of them were actually like 45 minutes to an hour, but Wanye and I just started chatting and then just ended up being 3.5 hours.
Get all the main topics done, and then you're just like, "Yeah, we'll shoot the shit for a little bit," and then it's
about what our episodes are. I can't lie.
Basically, yeah, because I mean, I saw that you talked to Sweet Annie there last week, and I was like, 2 hours. I'd listened to it, I was like, that was only 2 hours. I need more.
Yeah, I know. I definitely am going to bring her on again, and I want to bring her on with the main crew because they were both on vacation. She's terrific, and I can already tell from the first 8 minutes that you're just like that. So,
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, Carter. What else we got?
Well, you kind of touch based on how you kind of got affiliated with Jets Nation. Like, you want to kind of go more in depth on like how everything with you and Jets Nation kind of came to be?
Yeah. So Wanye asked me. This was that first year of the pandemic, and we got through that 3-hour conversation. And he just said, like, you have the ability to talk for 3 hours. You love hockey. Why don't you just write for us? And honestly, the first probably 35 articles I did for Jets Nation were awful. Like, I've gone back and I've read those things a few times. It's like, who the hell just let this punk ass from Edmonton, who's obviously not a Jets fan, yap about the Jets? Like, this guy's a moron. And the more and more I did, the more and more comfortable I got. And like, I was honestly devastated when they killed the website initially, because I was like, well, this is something that, I've invested a bunch of time and effort into. I want to do this and I want to do it right. So it's just been one of those things that I want to do more. But unfortunately, there's only just so much money in writing about the Winnipeg Jets. It's the NHL is kind of already the smallest major league of sports in North America. And in Winnipeg, before I moved here, I was like, yeah, Winnipeg, the place with giant mosquitoes and, you're going to get stabbed. I've lived here for 8 years and, a mosquito hasn't taken me away and I haven't been stabbed yet. So I've got nothing but love for Winnipeg at this point.
Carter's lived there his whole life, and I don't believe he's been stabbed, Carter. Right?
No, I have not been stabbed. I have been sucker punched at a club once, and that is about the extent of my Winnipeg.
You get punched at the PAL?
No, not at the Pal. The place is shut down now. It's called Obsidian. It was like in Pemina. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Obsidian.
Yeah, you definitely know. It is not a no one outside of us is gonna know, but that is that is
you were
not
looking
a place
for a real specific time when you went to Obsidian. Like, you knew you were either going home with someone or you were getting punched. Those were the only two options.
Dude, I was going there on student night when it was students get in free, and it was like $8 triples, man. Like, those were the only times I was going. I was going there to hang out with my buddies, and then all of a sudden, I just boom, and not very fun. I have a fuck ton of pictures from it, but it was not a fun time.
How long ago was that? How long ago was that?
It was literally the first week of January, I think, or maybe it was February.
Oh, I think you've shown us that, yeah.
Oh, I 100% sent it to you. It was crazy.
Yikes!
But so much fun.
Completely forgot about that.
All right. Well, I'll move on to the next one. So, as far as Jets Nation, I know you've kind of talked about like you do the website and all that kind of stuff, but as far as like the TikTok and social media side of things, like what do you kind of do as far as with that side of it?
Every real journalist is going to be incredibly pissed off to hear this. I go home, I enjoy a little marijuana, and then I go through Reddit and X, and then I was like, what can I pick out of here? And then I just write down a couple of notes, and then just kind of decide to just talk into my phone until it makes sense. So sometimes those TikToks, you're like watching, like I'll be like, that took me 25 minutes to get through this little 2-minute whatever. Other times it's just bang and it's out. So that's kind of how I do the TikToks. And then with the TikToks, what I'll do is I'll transcribe them. And thank God for AI for all this stuff. But I'm able to transcribe it, put it into a Word document, edit it, and then just make it into an entire website post as well. So it all just flows together so naturally and so easily.
Wow. How many people work at Jets Nation? Like, I know, like, you know, there's it changes between like Oilers Nation, Canucks, you know, all that. But like, how many people? I don't think you have the exact number, but like, how many people like estimate work with Jets Nation?
So just Jets Nation, there's currently 2 of us. There's myself, and then there's this guy by the name of Connor.
Yeah,
now Jets Nation.
Right now, I see Connor writes a lot of the articles.
Yeah, Connor's on top of it. That guy. He's from Vancouver, but just smart as a whip. Like, he stepped right into Jets Nation, and I was like, "Are you sure we didn't have a Jets fan before? Because like this guy knows what's up." So I've got him. We get occasional other help from other people. Like I used to have Ava on, she would do a bunch of memes for us, and thank God for her because she's just so brilliant and so funny. And then just a handful of other people. But right now it's just Connor and I.
Wow. I figured there'd be a lot more people involved working everything, but I guess you don't need a full ass corporation of people. Like I know Oilers Nation has definitely more than 2 people working for them because they got like a radio show, they got TikTok, they got article writers. Like that is a big, you know, like thing over there. Obviously the Jets are not as big as Oilers Nation, but
hey,
no. They have 100.
We're a big Jets are a big thing, okay?
All right,
we're a big deal.
Sorry,
yeah.
Guys. I'll go sit in my corner.
But the reason why Oilers Nation has so many people and Jets Nation has me and Connor is really just the dynamic between Winnipeg and Edmonton.
Yeah,
Edmonton's the rich asshole version of Winnipeg. Sorry, am I allowed to cuss on your podcast?
No, you can cuss.
No, that's not allowed.
Carter.
Oh, shoot.
I try to get away from it, but Carter does it a lot. Don't worry.
It happens where it's
the Western Canadian way. We can't have a full conversation without cussing halfway through.
Exactly.
I just know that from knowing Carter. Anyways, continue.
So Edmonton just has a bunch more money than Winnipeg just because of the oil industry that is in Alberta. So that really affects Oilers Nation. And they also were really smart. And again, you're going to have to go listen to that podcast they did with Wanye 4 years ago. But basically is they had a subsidy where they also owned a restaurant. And so they were able to supplement slow months with Oilers Nation with a restaurant. Now, I don't have that opportunity to have. Yeah. It's a really cool story of what those guys did. And I don't want to put words into Wanye's mouth on how he became successful like he did. But yeah, they have basically the money to fundraise, and they were able to build a blog when blogs were actually a big thing. Like, you think about it now, blog sites are whatever. Like, we have to be a news site almost as Jets Nation. So it's just one of those weird things that it's just all about timing. Like, had the Jets come back in like 2006, 2007, Jets Nation would probably be doing equal numbers to Flames Nation as of right now, in my opinion.
Oh, I'll ask you this question too. I don't know if you said it. When did they come in? Did they come in 2012, Jets Nation, or was it later?
Jets Nation? They actually started up before the actual Jets by a handful of weeks.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. I was just wondering if it's been around since as long as then.
Yeah, they've been around since the Jets came back.
Cool. All right, Carter, let's keep it going.
Yeah. All right. So kind of moving away from kind of the Jets Nation side of things, we can kind of get into talking about the actual team, the Winnipeg Jets. So kind of going to go down a lot of lists of like topics that have kind of been circulating around the Winnipeg Jets. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on probably some of the biggest issue I think that has circulated the Jets this offseason for sure. Rutger McGroarty, what are your thoughts on what the Jets are going to do with them? What do you think about just him? And just go in with your side on Rutger McGroarty, because me and Nord, we've talked about him a lot.
We discussed this before.
And let's get your thoughts on this.
Man, this is the silliest summer news story I've seen in a long time. I am to my core rattled that this has become such a big story for the Winnipeg Jets, because like, wait, you guys are in your early 20s, right?
I am in my late teens.
Okay.
Late teens.
Okay, so you guys are young. You guys are stupid. Every 20-year-old in the world is fucking stupid. I'm in my late 20s and I'm still being like, I'm still dumb, but like I know it now. Rutger McGroarty, I think, has some bad actors around him. They're taking advantage of the fact that he is a 20-something-year-old from Nebraska, and like, the guy grew up loving the Winnipeg Jets. So I just think that there's a dumb 20-year-old that got caught kind of being foolish, and now because Mike McIntyre got a hold of the story, it's this whole thing. And a lot of people have taken it out on Rutger McGroarty, being like, oh, well, what's he going to do? Like, if the Jets mismanage this guy, they're toast. Like, Rutger McGroarty being so confident, saying, hey, I'm good enough for the NHL. I'm not going to go play for the Manitoba Moose. I respect it. He's wrong. He needs to go play for the Manitoba Moose, but you need that kind of ego to walk into your locker room and say, like, hey, we're going to be the best because I'm going to be the best. So, I think that if the Jets actually do trade Rutger McGroarty, it's going to haunt them for a long time.
I don't think they're going to trade Rutger. Like, with what I've been hearing, like, I don't think teams are going to really want the guy anyways, because of what we've been hearing. And I even heard reports. I remember someone, I think we talked about it. It was like Winnipeg Sports Talk. They said that not only were the Jets frustrated with McGroarty's camp, but like teams that were trying to trade for McGroarty were frustrated. So I can't see him getting moved. I think he's a Winnipeg Jet. I don't think he's really going to.
Yeah, I think.
To be honest.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, is he was drafted by the team. So now if he doesn't sign before July 1st next year, or before the draft next year, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe that he will go into the next draft. So
I think wouldn't he just be a free agent?
I believe,
or maybe he's a free agent.
Yeah, it's 3 years after your draft, and then you become a free agent.
Okay, so free agent. He doesn't even have to go into the draft again. Now, that's a big fear for the Winnipeg Jets, losing out on a guy for nothing. So they do have to make either a signing happen or they have to make the trade happen. But
Yeah.
I think that he is a Winnipeg Jet to start the 2025-26 season.
I think he's going to cave in eventually. I think that like eventually he's going to be holding out long enough, and he's just going to sign, or he's going to get moved, which I think is I guess possible, but I think he stays.
He's a great trade option if the Jets are genuinely looking to push for a playoff spot come next spring. Then it's like, yeah, you can offer Rucker McGroarty as a great trade option for a team that needs a guy down the line. But yeah, that's the only way I see him being traded. And I still think that even if you do trade him, like that's a huge risk and liability because you're getting basically Pierre-Luc Dubois without the attitude. Hopefully,
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. To be honest.
Yeah, I think getting we've talked about it so many times, but I think getting rid of Rucker McGroarty is like stupid in my opinion because this guy's been a leader at pretty much every level. He was a leader for the World Juniors team, Team USA this year. If he's not already, he's going to be the captain of Michigan. Like he's going to be the captain at big time programs. Like he's exactly who you're going to want to have in your locker room, but it's just like all the demands of not touching the NHL ice yet is what's driving teams insane. And it's probably what's driving a lot of fans insane too. Like this guy already thinks he's going to come into the NHL and get power play minutes. Like, no, you got to earn it, right? Which I see the side of that, of course, but it's like at the same time, like as you said, you kind of hit it right on the nail. It's like you want a guy with confidence. You want a guy who's got a little bit of that cockiness and swagger. The Jets don't really have a guy like that, which I think is something that they need. And that would really set ourselves and have a guy who can be vocal out there and do that kind of thing. Because, yeah, it might drive you crazy sometimes, but think of how crazy it's going to be for other teams to hear this guy really came in, demanded power play. Like he's crazy. Like that's what they need.
Now, who is McGroarty's agent? Do you guys know?
Not a clue.
Yeah.
I can't refer to who the guy is, but I feel like some of this is his agent influencing McGroarty a little bit. I think it could be what some of it is with what his demands are. I don't know if you guys really agree with that.
Yeah, now you have to go into a Winnipeg Sports Talk episode, and I don't know when this was, but I remember it was Mike McIntyre who talked about it, and he did mention McGroarty's agent who's had issues with other players in the past. So I would have to look this up, but it's just like he's not a great agent. And I mean, the Jets have been kind of plagued by guys with agents that are like, well, my player wants out of here and demands an extra $15 million in their contract. So yeah, it's just one of those frustrating things that as a Winnipeg Jets fan, you have to deal with guys from Toronto and LA that are going to say like, well, who wants to be in Winnipeg? It's like you live here and you understand why you want to be in Winnipeg.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with, especially with that statement. You live in Winnipeg and you'll know why you want to be here.
Let me ask you this. Did you see the McGroarty and Perfetti rumors to Carolina? Rumors.
Dumb.
Literally the stupidest thing ever. I saw these rumors I saw these rumors come out. I saw they were disproven, and I texted Carter. I'm like, do you really think like the Jets would give up that? Like, you're giving up Cole Perfetti, who didn't get a lot of ice time this year and still had a great season. You're giving up a top 30 prospect in Rucker McGroarty, even though there's issues there with him. You're still getting that for Marty Natchez, who just had a down season by like 30 points. Like, yeah. I don't know. It doesn't make sense on any end. Like, first off, why would Winnipeg make that offer? Second, why would Carolina not take that? Like I don't understand.
Like that's why I sent it to you, was because I remember sending it to you, and then because I sent it the first time when I think Puck Empire posted it or something like that. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, this is the stupid. I was like, I sent it to you as in like, why in the fuck would Kevin Cheveldayoff send this offer? And if this is true, why the fuck did they not accept that? That is huge for Carolina, who's losing so many guys.
I don't understand.
Like, and then when it was disproven, I'm like, okay, thank God. Like, now this is finally put to rest and we don't have to talk about it. Because this was like the stupidest rumor ever.
Like a Frank Saravelli rumor. Like, I don't.
Oh my God, it was horrible.
Listen, Frank's my boss, so I can't say too much negative. But yeah, I was definitely scratching my head at that one because I'm like, really, we're gonna bring in Marty Nietzsche to play alongside Nick Ehlers, and it's just like this doesn't work out. That was brutal. So, but what I understood from that was what Carolina wanted was Perfetti, Rucker, and a draft pick.
Okay. That's crazy. And you're not getting a draft pick with those two guys.
That's still insane.
Ridiculous. And it's just like, first of all, Kevin Cheveldayoff doesn't lose trades. So to assume that Kevin Cheveldayoff had offered McGroarty and Perfetti and a draft pick after he's just swindled just about every other GM in this league, like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it seems doesn't make a lot of sense. If Natchez was coming off of I knew Carolina wanted that. I didn't know the Jets. Okay. But honestly, like, if Natchez was coming off of that, 70-point season, it's still not reasonable, but it's a little bit more understandable because the guy just came off of a great breakout year. But the dude came off of, like, just a horrible season. Like, bro fell off a cliff from 22-23. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, why is that the offer on the table? You would be lucky to get just a draft pick for Natchez. Like, honestly, I'm not trading McGroarty or Perfetti, let alone both for Marty Natchez.
You're going to end up ultimately overspending on Natchez, and that's going to be the issue of the Winnipeg Jets in the next, I think, 5 years. Is they're going to have to start eating some of these bad contracts. Like Nino Niederreiter, I love the guy. The 4x4 contract, like that, the last 2 years of that is going to suck hard. Mark Scheifele, the last probably 3 years of that contract, it's going to hurt. So the Jets are going to have to go through an entire era of the cap kind of hurts. Then we've seen Minnesota figure it out with having $14 million in dead cap space and being almost successful. So, you can make it work.
Good luck. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck. Now the Flyers, my favorite team, do have a lot of bad contracts. So, yeah, you should be saying good luck to us, too. All right. Anywho, Carter, let's continue this on.
There is a question I have that I want to save for the end about bad contracts. Mainly, you know what? Well, I'll just get into this right now. So, at around last year, before the Jets kind of decided to extend Scheifele, extend Connor Hellebuck, I said that they should trade both of them while their value is high and enter almost like a miniature rebuild, a retool in a sense. That was what I had said because I was like, these guys are going to command a lot of money. Hellebuck, I was okay with paying because I still think he's going to be a really good goalie no matter what. It was Scheifele I was more worried about giving that money out to. So I said that they should try and trade both of those guys, especially because their cap was pretty low at that time. And even if the Jets retained a lot of it to like a superstar caliber team, like I believe Scheifele was $5-6 million last year or something like that. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine having Mark Scheifele at under $3 million on a Stanley Cup contending team? So that was kind of my thought process is you could get a huge haul to get Mark Scheifele at $3 million. So what if we were to go back to last year before these contracts were shelled out and you saw how this season kind of went, what would kind of been your thought? Because this was one that I'm still thinking about to this day about should they have actually done this, because I feel we're about to enter a year or a time of mediocrity.
I like this question.
Mediocrity and the Winnipeg Jets go hand in hand. I actually I wouldn't have traded Connor Hellebuck. I would have said, hey man, 9.5, Scheifele's gone. Don't worry about anything else. Maybe he sticks around for another year, and then maybe let's see. I would have traded Mark Scheifele. I would have definitely tried to move on from him. I know he was the first ever draft pick. I know he's got like just a certain aura around him here in Winnipeg. don't totally understand it, but I get it at the same time. But at the same time, how do you get a great contract? How do you make a fair deal for Mark Scheifele?
You really can't. You really couldn't, because he was coming off a pretty solid year. So you kind of were like, I could give him this money, but then now you look at it and he's like, he's going to be making 8.5 till he's almost 39 years old. Like, that is just, or is it, how many years is the contract? 7, I think?
I think it's 7, right?
Yeah, so he'll be 38, 30, going on to 39. Like,
they signed him to identical deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to hurt. I can understand paying Hellebuck because you'll probably get 2 to 4 Vezina seasons out of him, Vezina caliber, and then he'll maybe start to slowly digress, but you never know, because sometimes goalies are just still good till their end of their playing days, right? So Hellebuck, I can understand. Scheifele's going to be the one where, are we going to look at this in 5 years and why are we paying a third line center 8.5 or something like that? So that was my thought process going into it. So I kind of wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those things I kept pondering, and even this summer I was going to write an article called "Will Mark Scheifele go down as one of the greatest Jets of all time, even in the 2.0 era?" And I don't know if he ends up on that Mount Rushmore of greatest Jets right now.
It's a debate.
I don't know.
I know it's a bit of a wild take, but like, yeah,
that is definitely one I'd have to ponder.
Cat. Yeah, it really is.
Because like, I would definitely like. Is he the best of the 2.0 era? We had some really good years of Blake Wheeler, and especially Connor Hellebuck and Buff too. I think everybody's favorite Jet of all time in the 2.0 has got to be Buff. You can't not like the guy, but I will say that I think that Mark Scheifele will probably, when it's all said and done, go down as probably, outside of Connor Hellebuck, most likely, because he does have the hardware. I think he'll go down as top 4 by the time his career's done.
See, and like this is
just my friend, not 1.0, not 1.0 at all.
I know 1.0, 2.0, different eras. We don't count them the same.
Okay, good.
But so I'm friends with Howard Manshine, and he put this in really good terms for me that we could all understand. Basically, and I think that Adam Lowry will be on the Mount Rushmore before Mark Scheifele when we get down to the brass tacks of 2.0 greatest of all times. Adam Lowry will not be as talented as Mark Scheifele. We can all admit that freely, but the more loved and genuinely more and the better Jet was Adam Lowry.
Lowry's my favorite Winnipeg Jet as a non-Jet.
Stud.
As a non-Jet.
Love the guy.
He would be like Morrissey or Hellebuck. Nope, it's Lowry. I love Lowry.
Yeah, and he's the perfect captain for this team.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like people outside of guys and girls who follow the Winnipeg Jets were probably looking at Lowry being the captain and being like, really? A third liner is your captain? But I think everyone in Winnipeg knew he's our captain.
Yes.
There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's been built to be a captain since day one. He's undoubtedly been probably the most beneficial. I think that he's been more of a game changer and game wrecker than anyone else on this team.
I 100% agree.
So
I 100% agree. Yep, 100%.
Everyone loves Adam Lowry. I don't think that's a question. We're gonna bounce back to Perfetti because we were kind of talking about him in the trade rumors here before we got sidetracked with that hypothetical go back question. We're gonna go back to Cole Perfetti. Now he's a restricted free agent. Obviously, he has not signed yet. But let's be honest, not a lot of the RFAs this year have. What do you think the Jets are going to do with Cole Perfetti, and what would you do if you were put in the position, you got to hand Cole Perfetti a contract? What are you sending him? Let's hear it.
But I think that the Jets and I would do the exact same thing, and I don't know why it hasn't happened, but I am giving young Cole Perfetti $5.5 million for 5 years.
Ooh,
I like
that.
With Scott Arniel. Yeah, well, like you look at what the cap situation for the Jets is right now. I believe it's $5.7 million in cap space.
They actually have 6.6. I got
6.6?
Yeah.
Oh, looks like either way. But $5.5 million, and even you could even justify 6.1, I think, over 6 years for Cole Perfetti. Like, look at what Quentin Byfield is making in LA right now. Like, I think you could justifiably say, like, we could do a comparable with Quentin Byfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that would be ideal. What do the Jets do? I don't think Shoveldayoff is going to kick the can down the line as far as I would. I think he might just do a quick 3-year, $4.5 million contract, and then maybe we'll see what happens at the end of that. But I don't know. I want this contract to be done though, because I want Cole Perfetti to have a spot.
I think this too, that he's gonna get more ice time. I think under Arniel even said that, like, if I'm correct, he said that he wanted to get more of the young guys time, like Chibrikov, Perfetti. He wanted to also get like Brad Lambert too get some time as well. So I'm assuming with that will factor in the Perfetti's deal. And I think you could honestly lock him up to a pretty steal of a contract, because we know what this kid can do. We know what this guy can do. And I think that, he's obviously probably going to get a bridge deal. I don't think he's going to get an 8-year contract. But I think you lock him up to a bridge deal with what you said, like a 3 or 4.5. That could work out perfectly for the Jets within the next 3 years, honestly. Like, this kid's going to be good.
Oh, he is.
I agree.
So,
go.
Oh, I was going to say, like, even this year, if you could get Perfetti, Lambert, and Ehlers all on the second line, like, it's going to be a soft second line, but that's going to be a line full of speed. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it makes me excited. Some of the, like, they were talking about, like, Arniel was talking about how, like, he wanted to get some of the kids up, and it makes me excited because Winnipeg, their prospect pool isn't, like, the greatest in the world, but I think it's one of the more underrated pools in the league. Like, you got McGrory, you got Colby Barlow, who shouldn't be a prospect. He looks old as hell. You have Chibrikov, who looked exciting when he was called up. You got Lambert as well. I think that the pool looks pretty exciting. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, it makes me excited as, like, I'm not even a Jets fan. So, yeah.
The prospect pool for the Jets is what the Jets are. It's slightly above average. No one's going to give it a ton of credit. They're going to get the job done in the next few years, but mediocre. That's what that prospect pool is. They're guys that are able to play in the NHL. They'll be able to be middle six guys, but until the Jets really get a solid superstar, Jets are just a really good mediocre team.
Could have really used Connor Bedard, right?
Yeah, right?
I mean, couldn't we all, to be honest? I would have.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well,
let's be honest. Yeah. But no, what they're missing, honestly, in their prospect pool is some defensemen. I feel like that's really what they're missing.
The best one is like what? Solomon?
Heinola, probably.
Or Heinola. He's been in the system for such a long time, though.
I know. He's not even a prospect anymore, but it's like he's been in the minors for so long. I hate that he has never been given a fair shot. Like, that's what I feel like the issue is with a lot of our prospects, is they've just never been given a fair shot yet.
Yeah.
Very true.
Sorry. I was at that game last year when Heinola got hurt against the Ottawa Senators, and man, if that injury doesn't happen, we're probably like talking about Logan Stanley not being a Winnipeg Jet right now.
I think Carter would be very happy to not have Logan Stanley on the Winnipeg Jets right now. Ain't that right, Carter?
Why do you spend a top 20 pick on him?
Because in hindsight, that makes so much sense. And you look at that draft. Who else are you taking?
What year was it? 2021?
No.
Later than that. He was like 2018 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we looked this up a while ago, Nord.
Oh, I guess I'm losing my mind.
But
hang on,
but also like Logan Stanley and those 2 goals that he scored against Montreal in the bubble year that took the Jets to overtime. If he doesn't score those, we're never talking about Logan Stanley. He's just another guy that the Jets moved on from.
I mean, we could have taken Tage Thompson.
Huh.
That would have been nice. Jordan Kyrie's there too. DeBrincat.
Is he really?
Is it 2019? Oh no,
God,
it wasn't.
no, 2016. What are you doing?
It's 2016.
Wi-Fi.
Oh, Philip Hronik's there too. God, there's
shit.
Oh my God. There's like it hurts to look at this. The fact that he was in the same draft as Patrik Laine and both of our first round picks from this draft didn't pan out for us kind of sucks.
The guy took so long to get to the NHL too. Took him to like 20.
Oh man, Brett Howden was there.
Yikes.
Damn.
Jesper Bratt. Oh my gosh. Ross Colton. Oh, this
Alex DeBrincat was still around too. Holy smokes! Yeah, we missed out. Never mind.
Yeah. The number 3 point scorer in the draft we could have taken, but no, we took a guy who we thought was going to replace Dustin Byfuglien, and instead has not. And
just
were they really saying that back then? I wasn't like really into hockey in 2016. Were they really saying that?
Probably not, but like I was a kid and he was tall and a defenseman, and like when you're a kid and you see that, you're like, oh, he's probably going to be like Dustin Byfuglien. Does not have that physical side of him. He is just tall, and that is about it.
And takes this like the softest shots too from the blue line. Like if you're gonna be 6'7", you should be launching rockets.
You have
like,
laser.
I understand the fear of Brian Little still like resonates with every Jets fan, but take those big shots, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, Corey, you got anything else?
Yeah. I don't know what else there really was, but I know one thing. Another trade rumor that kind of circulated the Winnipeg Jets. We maybe have touched based on it a little bit. Nikolai Ehlers, what are the Jets doing with him? Because I still cannot get a read on what we're doing. I want us to keep him, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know.
So this is something that I had heard was they were at one point genuinely shopping Nick Ehlers, and then once Scott Arniel was hired, he basically said, "No, I will make sure that Nikolai Ehlers is still a Winnipeg Jet."
That's what I
come
next year.
That's what I kind of heard too.
Yeah. So that was basically it. Was like Ehlers was just frustrated at the year that was. This was the first full 82 game season, and he didn't have the numbers that he wanted. And that was because Bonus wasn't playing him with the right line mates. Like it was just so frustrating to see Nick Ehlers not play with Mark Scheifele. Like those two went together so well, and then it's like Kyle Connor's healthy. Goodbye, Nikolai Ehlers. Let's forget about you and put you on the second line. And like, no, I don't want to see Tyler Toffoli just taking away all of the speed that Ehlers has.
Now he's not even there anymore. So
I think here. Yeah, I think the most fun Jets era. This was genuinely my favorite Jets line of all time. Mark Scheifele down the middle, Patty on the right, Ehlers on the left. That was my all-time favorite Jets line. You had the speed, you had the shot, you had the playmaking. Everything was there, and it was beautiful. I will never forget those 2 years of having that line together. It was just perfection.
And then Paul Maurice is like, nah, no more.
Nah, fuck that. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, Laine just had another hat trick. You're going to break up this line? Fuck.
Yeah. Laine just scored 2 goals, and now he's going to Columbus.
Oh,
poor Patrik Laine.
God. And we're going to get into him at some point this episode, too. And I'm not excited for it. I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
But
he's got more time to play Fortnite now.
He, he had the last year to play Fortnite. He can put it aside and go earn that 8 schmil in Columbus.
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean earn it? He hasn't played half. What are you talking about?
Yeah, now he's got to go earn it.
Earning it in the couch? What is happening here? Oh my God. So Carter, do you have any more questions for Angus here? I have a couple.
Not off the top of my head, but I'm assuming as soon as you get into some questions, some will pop into my head.
All right, I do have a few for you here, Angus. So the Winnipeg Jets made a lot of moves on the back end defensively. They let go of Nate Schmidt. They let go of somebody else. I'm blanking.
Brendan Dillon.
Yeah, Brendan.
There's so many Dillons on this team.
Yeah.
So they let go of Nate Schmidt. They let go of Dylan DeMello. They brought in a few other, or not Brendan Dillon. Jesus Christ.
There's too many Dillons.
Yes. Okay. So get rid of those guys. They brought in a couple other guys. What are your thoughts on their moves on the back end? Was it the right move to do, or where do you stand on
Listen, they're so close to having like a decent back end. Like Colin Miller sticking around with the Winnipeg Jets, probably playing on the third pairing. I love that. Dylan Samberg taking over for Brendan Dillon. That hurt. Like, everyone in Winnipeg loves Brendan Dillon. But they made the right move moving on from him because the way that he does play. He blocks shots. He's mean. Eventually, your body's going to slow down. And I just had a feeling the Jets were going to give him one too many years, and it was going to be a really tough situation with him. So they made the right moves with that second pairing. You keep Morrissey and DeMello together. Fantastic. They've worked right as rain. And then you got probably Ville Heinola taking over on the third pairing left side. Again, you're fine with that. Hopefully Ville Heinola gets through a full season. Otherwise, it's more Logan Stanley on your back end doing nothing at 6'7". My only issue here is Neil Pionk, who I have not been a big fan of for many, many years, and a lot of Jets fans are feeling frustrated towards him, especially with the playoff performance he had last year. So if the Jets could have figured out a way to move on from him, I would have actually kept Nate Schmidt over Neil Pionk.
He is expiring at the end of next season.
That's
don't know.
One too many years for him.
I just don't know if anyone wants that $5.8 million deal, but obviously
No, and I mean, like, that was the thing that was, like, the Jets had two really bad contracts in their back end with Neil Pionk and Nate Schmidt, and they needed to get rid of one of them, and I still think getting rid of the captain of Smiles was just the wrong decision with Nate Schmidt.
Yeah, I'm in that same camp too, to be honest. So moving in to we touched base on Scott Arniel becoming the head coach, but when it broke, when it initially happened, Bonus retired, Arniel was named coach. I think a couple weeks later. What were your thoughts on that? Do you think it was the perfect move, or were you in the camp of they should have brought someone in? I was of the opinion they were going to bring in Arniel because I saw him play. I saw him coach a couple of games this year with Bonus being out with medical leave and stuff like that. So where did you stand on this? I don't know how Carter felt. Let me go look at that.
Personally, I like the move. I like Scott Arniel, and I mean, like, the Jets love to hire from within. And there's very few guys in the NHL or that could have jumped in. The only guys that I was like, I want the Jets to consider besides Arniel would have been Jay Woodcroft and Todd Nelson. Those are like the only names I would have been excited about. You know, maybe Joel Quinville, but again, like, there's so much baggage with that name, unfortunately. But Scott Arniel, great choice. He did really good things. He's getting the young guys excited, like both Cole Perfetti and Nick Ehlers. I don't know if those guys would have necessarily stuck around if it's not for Scott Arniel. Now, obviously, we're still waiting for the Perfetti contract to get signed, but I think that Arniel's going to help facilitate that and make sure that there is a good contract put in place and to make sure that the kid is playing lots of hockey this year.
Arniel's making me excited. A lot of the things he's saying is the right things that I wanted to hear, and I think that it's making me very excited as a non-Winnipeg Jets fan to see some of the moves they made. So that's all I got in regards with my questions. Carter, do you have any more for him?
Yeah, I got kind of one more thing.
Never gonna end for you here, Angus.
All right.
Forever.
Well, I got a couple questions for Carter, so he can feel like he's got something here.
Oh,
I'm scared now. All right.
Yeah.
Interviewer?
I'll give you my last one here. This is my last one for you. What are your predictions for the Winnipeg Jets season?
Oh, I should have asked this. Yeah.
I think they're going to actually be they're going to take a step back, but I think they're going to be that team that that 8th seed that makes it in last minute and then goes on an absolute tear this year. There's a lot of really great pieces with this organization right now, but there's a lot of question marks. Like, even with you have Connor Hellebuck, who I'm arguing is going to go down as one of the greatest American goaltenders, if not the greatest American goaltender of all time. Jonathan Quick can't hold a light to Connor Hellebuck, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But big opinions here. Who's your backup? Eric Comrie or the other guy?
Taapo Kakkonen is the guy that.
There we go.
Starter.
Kakkonen. Eric Comrie has only really worked out under Wade Flaherty, and I'm not excited about your backup goaltending. And my issues with Neil Pionk, I don't know how well him and Sandberg are going to work together. I think that might be a detriment to Sandberg's progression as an NHLer moving forward. It's just a couple of little question marks that I think will hinder the Jets, but I just have that feeling of an 06 Oilers run with everything that's just kind of put into place right now.
So you're saying they'll make the Stanley Cup Finals?
Yes, that's exactly it. And then watch everyone have a heartbreaking Game 7.
You're gonna see the hockey world melt down if Winnipeg makes the finals. You're gonna see the world.
Oh my goodness!
Imagine Oilers Nation if y'all beat the Oilers yet again in the playoffs, like in 2021. How was that? Were you around when that went down?
Yeah, so that was actually my first season with Jets Nation. So at that time, I had this really hard decision. I was like, well, Oilers, they were my team growing up,
That's right,
loyal to the Oil. I've been through the decade of darkness, no big deal. And then I was watching the Jets and man, these Oilers, they're just kind of awful. I just didn't like them. And so I kind of made the choice, no, I'm going to go all in on the Jets here because they just had such an exciting series against the Oilers. And I mean, the tightest series, 4-game series ever. That series could have gone 4-0 for the Oilers, no problem. But that one was fun.
And really 1-goal games too.
Pretty much, yeah.
Overtimes. Yeah, what was it? I think there's 2 triple overtime games in that one.
No, it was just one. Game 4 was triple overtime. Game 3 was the big comeback.
Yeah.
It was game 1 or 2, which was an overtime, I think.
Yeah, but that was just a ridiculous series and just nerve-wracking all the way through. And yeah, that comeback game, what a comeback! Nikolai Ehlers celebrating with the seltzer guy. You can find photos of that on the internet. One of my favorite moments of Jets history.
Yeah, I was gonna say that must have been one hell of a series for you because obviously Oilers. Yeah, must have been wild.
Oh, it was, and I mean at that time I was just able to make memes about Edmonton because it was I grew up there, so now I can actually take my shots at that city and have a ton of fun.
You make fun of the city now. You get a free pass now.
Yeah.
Was Oilers Nation kind of chirping you a little bit? Were you chirping back at them? What was going on there?
Oh, 100%. I wrote a whole article about why the city of Edmonton sucks. And so it was a 1,200 word essay on why I hate Edmonton and the Edmonton Oilers. And it got over to Oilers Nation. Somebody reshared it with Oilers Nation, and it was one of the biggest articles that they ever had with Jets Nation. And I still go back and what a great article that was.
That must have been a great time. We didn't have a podcast back then, so me and Carter couldn't really talk on the Winnipeg Oilers series. But I'm sure if we did back then, our episodes
I think that was my first year of TikTok was that year. So you would have had no idea who I was, Nordic.
Oh, yeah. But, we did.
Yeah.
I was 14. So, I was still in middle school. But, Angus, do you have questions for Carter? I'm trying to hear. I want to hear these.
Well, yeah, I've only got a couple, but like maybe even one. But I just want to know what your thoughts are on the backup situation with the Winnipeg Jets right now.
Backup
and
goalie?
Who do you think will actually be the backup? Yeah.
That is... So, I don't know much on Kaapo Kähkönen. I haven't really looked at, his stats. He played on a really bad Sharks team and then was decent with the Devils. And I feel like we kind of know everything to do with Eric Comrie, how he's basically the journeyman who keeps finding his way back to Winnipeg. It's crazy. I don't know who I would want to start for this. I don't think you're going to start Hellebuck in preseason. I think you roll with, at least for these last couple preseason games when the lineups really start getting tight, you're not starting Hellebuck. Hellebuck is guaranteed on that team. You're not playing him in preseason. You can play him last game if you want, but you rotate between the two goalies. Whoever does better goes. I don't know who it's going to be. The only thing I will say is I think Comrie is on a two-way deal. So I think that he would probably end up going to the minors if it gets to that point.
Yeah, he is on a two-way deal.
So, and I think Kähkönen is on a one-way. So I think it would be Kähkönen. But at the same time, I mean, can always throw him on waivers.
So Kähkönen during the 23-24 season, combined with the Devils and the Sharks, he played 37 games, had 7 wins, but it's on the San Jose Sharks. He had a 3.64 and a .898. I don't know if that's telling. Well, you look at his whole career stats. He has a 3.33, a .899. So I don't know if he played with the Sharks. So it's kind of a little bit difficult to determine what exactly he's going to be because the Sharks were terrible. So I would say he probably is going to be your backup, I guess, but he's not the most reliable backup, I would say.
No, and those are brutal numbers, and that's kind of what spooks me. I'm why would you bring in a guy? I get it. You played for the San Jose Sharks, who were a glorified ECHL team at times last year.
Yeah, there were a couple of teams that could have beat them. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe Everblades, they could have beat the Sharks. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So I don't know. That doesn't excite me. And Eric Comrie, again, you have no issues with Eric Comrie. Great guy, one of the nicest people in the world. But at the same time, I don't know if we need the Eric Comrie experience for the 9th time in his career.
It's true. That's very true.
So.
He was in Buffalo last year, wasn't he? Didn't he move?
He was.
Went to Buffalo for a
Spent
year.
the last 2 seasons in Buffalo. He had some horrendous games out there. It was that's what I want. My team to have a completely destroyed, ego going into the next game because they dropped 10 goals because Eric Comrie just decided, tonight's the night I'm going to allow 10 goals.
Yep. I mean, hey, as long as you have Hellebuck, he can start about 97% of your games. So,
which is what we do. And we overplay him.
And then you get to the first round of the playoffs, and it's wonder what the hell happened to Connor Hellebuck. He's awful. It's no, he just played you 65 games this season, and you expect him to be a great playoff goalie.
You
he's
started
not
him a
Brodeur.
full fucking season. What do you expect?
Yeah,
guy was tired.
It was yeah, the guy is tired.
We started him on back-to-backs. You don't put your starting goalie on back-to-back nights. That doesn't work. That doesn't work for the longevity.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But Hellebuck wanted to play both nights. You have to let him play. It's just no. Wade Flaherty, tell Connor Hellebuck to sit down for a night or two. Holy,
calm down. I know he loves getting out there and stopping them pucks because God knows Neil Pionk ain't blocking them for him.
No, Neil Pionk is scoring goals on you.
Yeah,
no. Ryan Stanley is going to be providing a fucking screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Oh my lord.
Sorry. I get really passionate when it comes to trashing on Connor Hellebuyck, even though I did say he was a ghost in the playoffs. But I mean, you kind of have to say that because no one watches Jets hockey.
No. And then when they do, they just get excited that Connor Hellebuyck is awful. They're like, "See, we told you he wasn't a Vezina caliber." It's like, yeah, you didn't watch those mid-January games, you knobs.
Playoffs doesn't count.
Yeah. But I have to tell all the boomers of Winnipeg on Facebook, is like, yeah, you guys got to remember what stats count for what time of year.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually do have one more question here for you, and I think it's a fun one to wrap up. I do have a few questions from the fans that I'll get into after this, but I do have one more question. So there has been this, I guess, kind of narrative about players not wanting to come to the city of Winnipeg, players not wanting to play for Winnipeg. What are your thoughts on that? Because you're an Edmonton guy. You've been in Manitoba for, I guess, a relatively long time now. So what are your thoughts on those rumors? Are they concrete at all? And you got what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I had a friend actually ask me this a little while ago, and what I told him was, Winnipeg is an awful place to visit. Like, if you're coming in to Winnipeg, you only come here once, maybe twice a year. You got to come here in November and January. This is a shithole. Like, no one wants to come here. Connor, you could probably agree with that. But to live here, it's awesome. I love Winnipeg. I tell all my friends and family, come to Winnipeg and just give it some time, and I promise you'll enjoy it, and you never want to leave and go anywhere else. Like, if you leave Winnipeg any direction by about 30 minutes, it's gorgeous. You're either finding beautiful farmland and a great place to golf, or you're going off into the White Shell and you're going fishing, you're up at the cabin, you're having a spectacular time because, like, this is God's country. The first week that I came here to Manitoba, I ended up going on a week-long canoe trip out to the White Shell. And we went up to Ontario and a little bit further on. And I grew up loving the mountains. Like, I'd go do hikes when I got my license, drive out to the mountains 3-4 hours away, enjoy my eggs. And I was like, there's nothing better than the mountains. And then I get out to Manitoba, I'm like, this is it. Like, I can't find anywhere better on this planet to be. So yeah, Winnipeg, I can understand why players don't want to necessarily come here because the hotels suck. It's cold. A lot of sketchy people downtown. And if you're walking from the hotel to the arena, it's only 2 blocks away. But, like, how many guys are going to stop you and be like, hey, can I get a smoke off you? Or just something crazy like that going on.
Want a needle?
Want a needle?
Oh, my God.
Oh, good old Winnipeg. So, yeah, I understand why players think they don't want to be here, but look at Nino Niederreiter, Connor Hellebuyck, and Mark Scheifele. Like, they all signed long-term extensions here in Winnipeg, and it's just like, hell yeah, you guys can stick around because they know that this place is home.
Yeah, I think Winnipeg gets kind of a bad rap by a lot of people. I've never been there personally, but from what Carter's told me and from what I've heard from other Winnipeg Jets fans, it's not as bad that it's been painted to be honest.
Yes.
And listen, I am not picking Winnipeg to go to on a vacation. I'm not picking Winnipeg. It's probably towards the bottom of my list.
You just don't want to come see me? What the fuck?
Okay, Carter, that's a different story. But as your guys' list would be too. But I still think I don't think still should be a nice place to live. And I'm sure I will go there eventually. Me and Carter and our other guy, Jack, have talked about many times before meeting up for an in-person podcast because I live in Pennsylvania. Our other guy, Jack, lives in Chicago and Carter lives in Winnipeg. So we're just on completely different ends of the world. But we've talked about meeting in person before. I'm sure eventually I'm going to go to Winnipeg and end up filming a podcast there. And
so,
we're gonna get you here for a playoff game.
Yeah. Oh, buddy, whiteout parties? Next level.
We're getting you to a whiteout party. That is goal number 1. I don't care what you're doing. We're getting you to a whiteout party. You'll have your license. You won't be 18. You can be my DD. Everything's gonna work out. Actually, would you be 18 by then?
Well, it depends when we do it. I turn 18 next February.
Oh,
No, just show them all the great busing systems here in
Nordic's
Winnipeg.
gonna have fun at a whiteout party.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait to get blackout drunk in Winnipeg and get sucker punched.
Nothing's gone wrong with blacking out in Winnipeg.
Yeah, what could go wrong? It's not as bad as Philly.
But Nordic, like, let me throw it to you. Would you recommend that somebody come live like in Pennsylvania?
It's not for everyone. I think some people will enjoy it.
And that's Winnipeg. It's not for everyone.
But I would definitely, I would, sure. You want to come live in Pennsylvania? Go ahead. I don't know. I would rather, yeah, I don't know. I guess I would say yes, but like, I've been here my whole life. I haven't really been anywhere else. So, of course, I'm going to say that.
The thing is like, you can't say, like, it's hard to judge a place off of where you visit because for the most part you're visiting downtown, and downtown doesn't do any place justice unless it's like in the fucking mountains. Like Vancouver's probably got a nice downtown because it's surrounded by mountains. Or I don't know. I've never been.
Vancouver's great until you accidentally end up in East Hastings and you're like, oh cool, now I'm actually going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say to my girlfriend, like, we got to go to Vancouver. We got to go out and see the city. It's so beautiful out there. But I mean, like, again, like you're honestly the perfect example because you grew up in Edmonton, you moved to Manitoba, like you experienced living there, so you can say pretty well that it's a great place to live. So
yeah, I sure can. And I will bang on the Winnipeg drum that everyone should move here, but never vacation here.
Oh, absolutely. I don't really know if there's a lot of places in like the middle of Canada, like Manitoba specifically, you're going to go vacation to. Like Saskatchewan, farmland.
Well, like for me, like I drive back to Edmonton every year for Christmas, and it's just like 13 hours between Edmonton and Winnipeg is like, oh boy, I can't wait for this drive during some hellish snowstorm where I don't know how me and my little Honda Civic got through, but we did it. Just took 10 years off my life.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, no, like there's nothing big. The only exciting things to do here in the summer is like, oh boy, I'm going up to Dauphin for Country Fest or Folk Fest here just north of the city. So just like, yeah, there's not a lot of great things to do, but there's so many little things that just like make this place awesome. And no hockey player is going to stick around Winnipeg all summer because, you know, the humidity is ridiculous out here.
Yeah, 100%. So I asked the fans to give us some questions. I do have, I think, 3 here. Let me look at them real quick. So this first one comes from Quincy, a.k.a. He's a big fan of Oliver Wahlstrom. He asked you, who is your favorite Winnipeg Jet? And I guess Carter can chime on this too. I said mine was Adam Lowry, but who are you guys?
Carter, you go first.
I go? I think I got to take the guy who I've kind of always liked, but he never really got recognition until 2 seasons ago, and that is Mr. Josh Norrisy. I've always been big on him being our number 1 defenseman. He is. He's so good, and I think he's been our most underrated Jet for the longest time, and it's about time we've started to give him his flowers.
I love hearing that. I love Morrissey. What about you,
Angus? Yeah. You know what? It's Adam Lowry, like the perfect captain. It's just perfect for Winnipeg, and the fact that it's just like, even when his dad was the coach, he was never like, you know, I'm the son of a former NHLer. I'm a son of a captain of an NHL. Like, you know, Dave Lowry had all of these credentials, and he never went off on that. So just great guy all around. If only he could bury some of those breakaway goals, Adam Lowry would be an absolute stud in this league.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, the other question here from Quincy asked 2. Who is your least favorite Jet ever? I feel like I know Carter's answer. I really can't speak on least favorite Jets because they're not my favorite team.
ever?
Yeah, they're thinking here, guys.
I gotta go back then.
Right now,
Yeah, like I feel like an easy answer would be Kevin Hayes, but then you heard stories about what he had to deal with here in Winnipeg. I joined the Jets fandom relatively late. Like I cheered against them in 2018. I was all over up until the Vegas series, and then I was like, oh, Vegas absolutely cannot cheer for. But that's a story for another time. But honestly, Blake Wheeler for a long time just irked me the wrong way. Like post pandemic, I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be the captain, and you're not dealing with this very well. So post COVID, Captain Blake Wheeler is my least favorite Jet.
ooh, wow.
That is a fair point.
Yeah. That point, like when you had Blake Wheeler fighting for Scheifele in the bubble, so good.
Yeah. That's the Blake Wheeler I think every Jets fan kind of missed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wouldn't say he still had some good moments, but I did not like how all those rumors with him and Patrik Laine and how he was like making the locker room toxic and everything. Like,
Nope, he just disappeared. I think his camera just turned off.
that's what I'm going to assume. I don't know if he's still here. So I'm going to pause what I'm saying until we make sure he's back.
Uh-oh. All right, hang on a second.
All right, we got him back. We found him. So we'll get back to what I was saying. I did not like how Blake Wheeler kind of handled the whole Patrik Laine situation. I think that was really bad, but I don't think that was enough to make him my least favorite Jet ever. Logan Stanley is probably one just because not a very great player, but I think I could probably get 90% of Jets fans to agree, and it is number 9, Vander Kane. I can almost guarantee that almost every Jets fan did not like him. Loved him as a player, great player, was not a great personality for the Winnipeg Jets at all.
Didn't Bufflin? There's like a clip that went around of Bufflin just like hating the guy.
Yeah, he is not a fan of. There's literally a picture of him walking out the tunnel, flipping him off.
Yeah, that's right.
And
iconic photo.
Great photo. I think I still have it in my phone somewhere, just because it's just great to have.
So good.
But
yeah, and I mean, like, who? I'm genuinely asking, who do you think Jets fans dislike more, Vander Kane or PLD?
Wow,
I'd say I don't know.
I can't really speak
because like Kane was showing up every night or most nights.
Yeah. I'd probably say Kane just because I feel like, especially now with everything we're finding out about him, how he has so much gambling debt, everything that's happened with his girlfriend, you're kind of like, holy shit, like he was he was actually just a horrible person. Like, and PLD was just, he's a baby, he cries a lot, like he's just not.
I want to go to Montreal.
Yeah, it's all that, right? Whereas it's like Kane was just a horrible person.
No.
I don't know where that's coming from, and I don't like it.
Little jingle going off at Angus. All right.
But yeah.
I don't know with Dubois. Like, I know Dubois better than I know Kane because Kane was a little more before my time watching hockey. Dubois, for me, Dubois was incredibly frustrating. I guess if I had to give a least favorite Winnipeg Jet, I'd probably be Dubois because that man was just so frustrating to hear about in the media, to watch play for the Jets. And, you know, the trade in the end worked out perfectly for the Jets. But obviously, I was not a big fan of him whatsoever. So this last question here, we already touched, Carter already gave his for this, but it asked the question of, what would be your ideal favorite Winnipeg Jets line? Carter already said his is like Ehlers, Laine, and...
Yeah, that was like my past one for sure.
Yeah.
If I have to give a current one, I could do that too.
Yeah.
Let Angus go along with this one.
Yeah, no, now I gotta think about this because like it probably is that Shifley, Ehlers, and um,
Line.
Laine. Yeah, but Ehlers and Shifley. Anytime I see those two on a line together, I'm immediately excited. And then having Velarde there, like last year when that line was roaring, I'm like let's go. Like this is what I want to see. And then unfortunately, Velarde just can't stay healthy to save his life. So not enough of that. But also, if we could just see Dustin Bufflin and Josh Morrissey on a pairing together one more time, perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I will say right now, I think one of my favorite lines that never really got a chance to really see too much. I would just love to see Shifley, Connor, Ehlers. I think that would be a fun line to see.
That'd be so much speed. Um, yeah, and like even just that third line of Nino Niederreiter, Appleton, and Larry. Like I know Appleton is just such a nobody in the NHL, but he's just like one of those lines. Like this line is actually so perfect together, and no one wants to give Mason Appleton any credit because he scored 15 goals that were useless.
Yeah. I don't know. I really can't speak on this. I'm not a Jets fan, so yeah. I do have one more question here, and it's a good transition over into a topic I wanted to talk about on the episode. Patrik Laine. This guy asked a question saying, "Where do we think Patrik Laine is going to go? Could we see a possible return to Winnipeg? Could we see him staying with the Jackets? Like where Patrik Laine situation right now? Where do you guys stand on this?"
I think he goes. He's going to be in Columbus to start the season. And I think Columbus has like a little bit of a renaissance. Like again, like their bottom six is awful. Their bottom four with their defense is awful. Elvis Mers Lincoln's. Like, what do you think? And that guy shouldn't be with your team anymore. Um,
Can't really move him
but
out there.
no, like what are you going to do with him? Uh, but Patrik Laine, you look at that second line of Kent Johnson and Adam Fantilli. Why would you not want to play with those two if you're Patrik Laine? And if you really wanted out of Columbus, terminate that contract. So
I
I
think
genuinely,
start. Sorry to interrupt you. I think the guy just wants a fresh start.
yeah,
A lot of players that come through the player assistance program, which is what Laine went through, I think a lot of them want a fresh start. The only problem with I think Laine would have been gone by now. The only problem is that Don Waddell doesn't seem particularly interested in retaining Laine's salary.
why would you?
It's true. It's very true. But I think that's part of the reason why he hasn't been flipped yet.
Yeah, no, and like it doesn't make sense to trade him right now. Yeah, I get that he wants to trade, but a lot of the guys that do go through the players assistance program end up having a drug problem at one point or another, or an alcohol problem. Um, so a lot of it's to do with really bad issues where Laine, from what I've understood, it was kind of because he was just dealing with a lot of depression because of his dad passing.
It's true.
So, and I don't want to, guess at why he was in players assistance, but that was what I understood from folks that are actually on the inside. So I think it would make a lot of sense for both the Columbus Blue Jackets and Patrik Laine to have a fresh start together and just play. Because, even like Monahan and Gaudreau on the top line, like if Laine can get on there, and he could probably play top pair or top PP1. So he should be in Columbus.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I don't think Laine's value trade wise could be any lower than it is right now. Like
Nope.
I don't like the guy is coming off of a injured season. Obviously, he went through the player assistance program. Like you're not going to get a lot back for him. I think Waddell should sit down with Laine and say, Patrik, we have a line here with you, Ken Johnson, Adam Fantilli. If you go in there and you put up a really good season, you play healthy, we'll flip you by the trade deadline next year. I think that could be something that happens. I think too, like again, like trading Laine right now, like his value isn't good. I don't think like you're not going to get a lot for him if he has a really good year. Like I'm not saying he doesn't go back to Winnipeg Laine form, but like if he has like a somewhat good year, like scores even like 25, 30 goals, you could flip him for maybe a first round pick. I'm not gonna like you could you could do some good there. I'm not maybe not a first round pick, but like you could get something back for him that's better than what you could get now for him. So that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, you'd have to trade him, with an asset as well and still retain. Yeah, so you're absolutely right about that.
Carter, what do you think? We haven't heard from you much.
That's my guy. I love Patty Laine. I'm not gonna lie. I was so upset when we got rid of him, especially because this was a line I never even decided to bring up. That 2017-2018 Cup run with Paul Stastny, Nikolai Ehlers. We never made the Cup, but like Western Conference Final. Shut up. Our deep run, okay? Our deep Stanley Cup playoff run, okay? Let me have my moment.
All right,
okay? Stastny, Laine, Ehlers, that was gorgeous. The COVID year where we brought back Stastny, I was like, oh my gosh, this means we're keeping Patrik Laine. He's not going anywhere. This is perfect. One game, gets hurt, he scores 2 goals, and he's traded like a week later. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And that broke me. And since then I have wanted Patrik Laine back in a Jets jersey so bad. I don't care if he's bad. There's always going to be a special place in my heart for Patrik Laine. If you can get him for cheap, which you can't because his contract is really fucking high, 8.7 million. Yeah, holy fuck. Nuts. But if you can get him for cheap somehow, figure out a way to make these contracts work, wouldn't be the worst option in the world. You're banking on potential with him. He is 26, so like not really potential, but you're banking on what he has been, what he has shown. He's not, it's not like he's lost his goal scoring touch. He's just been dealing with so much injuries, issues on the ice, off the ice. It's just a lot of stress probably building on him. So he has not lost his scoring touch. And I think if you're the Winnipeg Jets or any team that needs scoring, go out and make an offer for Patrik Laine, because I could guarantee you could get him pretty fucking cheap.
Now, would Laine want to come back to Winnipeg? That's the question you got.
I'd hope so. My God, that would be awesome.
Only if Nick Ehlers is here. That's the only way he's sticking around.
That's the only way. Only if he can play Fortnite duos with Nikolai Ehlers.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you're also like hoping that he comes back in a way. Like, we haven't, he got so close to that, 44 goals in his sophomore season. And the closest he's come was that the year after when he only scored 30. Like, the guy hasn't hit 30 since his third year in the NHL. So you're banking on something from a young man to come back almost, 6 years later. Like, I just don't know if we're going to see that from Pat Laine anytime soon.
Carter, remember my take that I had?
Yeah, how he was going to score 52 years ago?
Hit 55 with Johnny Gaudreau. Yeah, in the first year of our podcast, third episode, we had Mike Bartner join the podcast. We were talking hot takes, and Bartner said something about how he doesn't think Columbus is going to be good or anything. I don't know if you know Bartner, but like he said like Columbus isn't going to be good or anything. And I was like, oh, that's not great because I had Laine scoring 55 goals. So that was
didn't even get half of it.
Laine got half of that. So
he played 55 games though, so he got 55 right.
Oh, yeah, he already did play 55 games. No, right. Yeah. Oh, well, at least I got that. But yeah, like, I mean, again, like, the guy going back to like this is what I'm thinking. Going back to that Laine Dubois. Was that a lose-lose trade looking back at it? Unless if you count the Dubois trade itself. Was that a lose-lose trade? Like, oh my God. Like, Columbus got Jack Roslovic and Laine. Both turned out terribly. Winnipeg got Dubois and I think like a third or something. I don't know what that third turned in.
Roslovic, honestly, with Columbus, he wasn't like horrible. Like if his numbers jumped almost like 1.5.
But that's because he was actually given playing time again because Paul Maurice was like, well, unless your name's Blake Wheeler or Mark Scheifele, you're not playing more than 15 minutes a night.
Yeah, you're not sniffing ice time, buddy. Get in line.
Actually, that
Christian Vassalainen, 5 minutes of ice time a night.
Horrible.
What a use of a first-round pick in 2016.
Man,
he was 2015. Let's go take a look at guys drafted after him.
There we go. Got what? Kirill Kaprizov,
Sebastian Aho. Woo!
Oh, yay!
Oh my God, so many Rupi Hintz. Yay! There's so many good fucking players here. What the fuck were we doing?
This turned into just a jet.
Hey, we still got Kyle Connor out of the deal, and Boston managed to destroy that entire draft. So, like, let's remember the positives here.
I will never be upset over getting if taking Jas Rocks. Holy fuck! What did I just say? If taking Jack Roslovic means we keep Kyle Connor, I'll take it 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. I don't care.
Right.
Okay, here's an actual big question for you. If you could have Prime Stastny playing with young Patrik Laine, but there was never a Dustin Byfuglien with the Winnipeg Jets, would you take that?
Wow, that's
holy fuck.
Like do that.
Okay, then I got a question though.
Let's hear it.
Does what year are we talking here? Like, are
We're talking like we get 5 years of Prime Stastny.
Okay.
The year that Laine is drafted in this hypothetical.
Are we still going to trade Laine at the same time?
Or is there a chance to still keep him? Let's just say we have the same issues with Wheeler and Scheifele, but Paul Stastny is trying his best to make things work as well as he can.
But Buff's never
no
a Jet?
Dustin Byfuglien to help. Yeah, Dustin Byfuglien is never a Jet. Let's just say he just plays somewhere else.
Oh, why would you
He's still in Chicago?
Why would you get...
He had rumors that go on there, I remember.
Oh my God, that's a fucking crazy... Holy...
Right?
You just blew... I didn't even know I could ask this kind of question. What the Hold on.
Got to do some research. Man,
I'm going to have to look at... Holy... Okay, so... I'm assuming Prime Pulse. Okay, well, he never really had like a crazy prime or anything like that, but kind of the start of his career.
He's consistent.
Okay, looking at his early consistent years, okay, I can go with that. Yeah, he's sniffing like 30 assists a year. Holy damn, he had a crazy rookie year, and then damn, his rookie year was his second. Damn, okay. Fuck, that's a. I think I gotta say no. I think Buff's too big of a. He's too big of a Winnipeg icon. 2, he is a big part of the Winnipeg Jets identity. So that shouldn't have taken me so long to think about, but I'm gonna say no. The only thing I would say, if I could go back and say, Blake Wheeler, stay in your fucking place, I think I would do that to try and keep Patrik Laine. I think that's what I'd do.
I respect it.
I would do everything in my power to keep Patrik Laine on the Winnipeg Jets, and I don't think I could reiterate that enough.
Okay, so let's throw this one to you. Would you trade Patrick? Would you go Laine for the trade package from LA?
Holy fuck.
So that would have been Velarde, Iafallo, that pick, and the other guy who I always forget about, who I never liked.
Kupari. Oh,
Worse
God.
AJF.
I don't.
Wait,
I don't know.
Are we taking out all of the Columbus years? Or are we just basing it off of the Jets?
Let's have this little hypothetical of he played for the Jets and had okay seasons. He let's just say he played 60 games per.
Then yes, I'm probably taking that.
Dude, I don't know. I'm not. No, because let me tell you this. Because okay,
You guys in love with
If
Laine.
we-
Oh my god.
because here's the thing. Like I'm looking at it, and in those years with Columbus, his first year in Columbus, was it good? No. He had 21 points through 45 games. Not good. The 2 following years, he was a point per game guy the first year, almost a point per game guy the second year. So looking at that, it's like we take those averages and put it in a 60 game per. That's a 60 point season. That's almost on pace for 82 in a regular. I'd still say no.
Crazy, man. That's nuts. I can't believe that.
No. I don't. Here's the thing. Here's my thing, though. I think he doesn't leave Winnipeg. If we don't trade him, I think he's a elite goal scorer, and I don't think he ever has a fall off. I don't care. You can call me a clown. I love Patrik Laine so much.
If he doesn't have to deal with Blake Wheeler by himself, let's just say like the Bufflin injury never happens, he never has to have that surgery, we probably are talking about a legitimately great and a different timeline of Patrik Laine.
But sadly, we can't. If everything in my world would be perfect, where Patrik Laine it actually isn't. No. If he isn't shunned to the corner of the Winnipeg Jets captaincy,
and in your hypothetical, we're probably talking about October 15th being Dustin Bufflin night, getting his name up in the rafters.
That's so true. Oh my god!
But he decided to have that surgery, and now it's like, yeah, we'll never see 33 up in the rafters.
Oh my god!
And in my perfect world, Logan Stanley is a 15-time Norris Trophy winner.
Or he's at Mars, one of the two. My god!
It doesn't matter to me. But
all right, I gotta keep this going, children.
That was a long hypothetical. I'm sorry for going into that.
Oh, no
everyone.
Angus keeps the vibes going. All right, we got some news around the National Hockey League to talk about here. There isn't a lot, just a lot of signings, to be honest. The Canadians made a lot of headlines. Arbor Xhekaj signed a 2-year, $1.3 million contract. I think it's a little bit strange to be giving him that much money for a defenseman who spent most of the year in the AHL. But hey, I guess they're planning on him having a full-time role with the Canadians. They also signed Justin Barron to a 2-year, $1.15 million deal. His brother Morgan's actually, I think, still with the Jets, right?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, but yeah, Barron, obviously, I would say right now is the better brother of the two. But he's looking like he could be an exciting defenseman as well. Caden Cooley signed a 6-year, $5.55 million deal with the team as well that begins in 2025-2026. I like this deal a lot for the Jets. Jesus, you got Jets in my brain. For the Canadians, I think that they're building their cap system perfectly. I think it might be a little bit of an overpay right now, but Gooley's the type of guy that could build into this contract and grow into it. So I think it's a perfect deal there. Nico Dawes signed a 2-year, $812K million deal. Good backup for the Devils. Ryan Lindgren signed a 1-year, $4.5 million deal with the New York Rangers. Dustin Wolf signed a 2-year, $850K deal with the Calgary Flames. I just want to say that if Wolf becomes the starter, that will be the best starting goalie contract in the league. Guy's getting paid less than $900K, and he is the starter. So I think if he gets that over Vladar, that's a perfect contract. Other deals, Jordan Spence signed a 2-year, $1.5 extension with the LA Kings. Good contract, was a great defenseman this past year for him. Oliver Shillington has found a location. He is with the Colorado Avalanche, a 1-year, $1 million deal. Nice deal there for him. Entry-level contracts that were signed: Igor Chernyshov with the San Jose Sharks, Ben Danford with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Carter Yakimchuk with the Ottawa Senators. One more piece of news, and this is a weird piece. Jeff Merrick. It was found out that he was released from Sportsnet due to leaking draft picks to a my phone just died. That's wonderful. Leaking draft picks to a alternate source so the guy could tweet it before everyone else. It's weird thing to get fired for. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on this, but it's a weird thing to get fired for, but it's very strange. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
I technically cannot have a thought on that because I technically work for Rogers, who owns Sportsnet. So
I am sorry to say that. Sorry, Angus. Here I am making fun of your boss, Saravelli, and here I am asking you for thoughts on something you can't even comment on. I'm very.
I know, right? I work for interesting companies where I don't get to say everything I want to say, but that's okay. I know the laws of media.
Could you at least speak on Merrick and say that, like, is he a good guy and all that?
Oh, I actually personally have never met him. I just know him through 32 Thoughts and the Jeff Merrick Show, and anything that I've heard about him from Sean Reynolds, fantastic guy. So he's gonna land on his feet. I'm not worried about him. It's just sad to see such a good guy lose a job over something so silly. Because, like, wasn't it Saravalli that broke every single Kraken signing before they even were announced? So I don't know who got mad. Apparently Gary Bettman got mad about this. This is what I've heard. I
think that's probably what it was. And the fact that they were in Vegas too. So sorry to make you comment on that so much. I don't want to lose your job.
You are really trying to get Angus in trouble here, and it's kind of messed up.
No,
I'm just trying to live my dream, and I've got this guy from Pennsylvania trying to ruin it.
I got this guy fired from his job.
Dude, trust me, he texted me beforehand. He's like, I'm about to ruin this guy's career. You have no idea. I'll pull up the text. I'll tweet about it.
I'm gonna need some receipts on this one.
I'll get them to you.
Yeah, go ahead. They're gonna be forged, AI generated.
I don't do AI.
Of course you don't.
Well, all right. Bless your heart.
Again, unfortunate moment for Merrick. I definitely think he'll land on his feet for sure. He'll definitely find another place in hockey for sure. The last topic I have for you guys today, I was going to do something else, but I don't really feel like doing it because it's the off season. There have been talks with the Summer Olympics going on. There were some people making rumblings that ball hockey or roller hockey should be in the Summer Olympics. First off, have you guys watched any of the Summer Olympics?
I have not had a whole lot of time, so I've been just catching a lot of the highlights. So I saw that guy with the giant hog lose pole vault.
The Turkish shooter who literally looks like he is just.
Oh man! Like, just the memes out of this Summer Olympics have been prime time. So for a guy that's not watching a whole lot, just because like my life is nuts in the summer, the memeing on point. And the fact that Canadians are just dominating at just the weirdest sports too. Like, yeah, that's my country.
They've been doing great in the pool. That's what I.
Summer Macintosh, let's go. And hammer throw.
Really good at hammer throw for some reason. I don't know why, but we are.
Yeah.
Oh, Canada. Carter, have you watched any of it?
Yeah, we pretty much, like, every night before I go to bed, because it was like, I'd be so tired. It'd be like 9 o'clock. I'm like, I don't really feel like going to bed yet, so I'd just throw on the Olympic primetime thing, and it'd just give me kind of like a recap of it. And so I'd pay a little off and on attention, and anytime Canada would win a gold or anything, TSN would notify me, so I kind of stayed on top of it that way.
I'm kind of like Angus. I'm not particular. I guess I'm interested in it, but like I'm not gonna go watch it. Like I literally watched like the Hlinka Gretzky Cup before I watched the Olympics.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest thing. But I do think it's cool. I do think it's interesting to look at some of the stuff. Again, the Turkish shooter was one of my favorite things that I've seen. But obviously in the Winter Olympics, there's obviously ice hockey. But in the Summer Olympics, I think there's field hockey, but that's nothing compared to, well, it's similar to, I guess, ball hockey and roller hockey. But do you guys think that they should be added to the Summer Olympics or some form there? Do you guys think that could happen in the future, and would it make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we'd get roller hockey. I'd assume we'd probably get ball hockey. But
there
I doubt
are international competitions for both of them. Like
Yeah.
I know people who have gone and competed in those because I've played all three versions of the sport.
Yeah.
So yes, but
That's my thing. I think we'd get ball hockey before roller hockey. But I mean, if they're gonna add like football into it, like they gotta add at least some sort of hockey.
I mean, hey, why not? Yeah, exactly. Angus?
Yeah, give me that ball hockey. I'm all in. Like, there's not many Olympic sports that I'm able to compete in or even try to go win gold, but ball hockey, I'm all in. Let me suit up as your goaltender, Team Canada, and we'll walk away with gold, I tell you.
Oh, yes. I honestly, I would never make an Olympic team, but like if there was something to go into the Olympics, like Angus, you said ball hockey, but like if there was like a sport or something to go into the Olympics that you could legitimately win a gold medal for, what would it be?
So this is a Winter Olympic sport, but it's basically mountain running. And just like, how fast can you run up a mountain? And like, I used to just like hike mountains and basically hoof it up there all the time. I don't know how well my knees would hold up anymore, but like a good 8 years ago, absolutely would have destroyed mountain running.
Love it. Carter, what about you? Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, but like right now, I'd probably go get into curling. Get me a team of 4, and I'm all in, and we're gonna win.
That's sick. That's sick. I would love to do some curling. It's pretty fire. Carter, what about you?
I really don't think there would be one for me at all.
That's unfortunate.
Which does kind of suck. I feel like though
Zamboni riding.
Yeah, I can do that. This was
so cool. Racing Zambonis. How about
dude?
It?
Oh my god, it's so much fun. I love driving Zambonis. But this was a question me and my buddies had that we brought up today because the Olympics were on when we were at Boston Pizza, and it was if you were given 8 years to try and like 8 years, that's all you did. Like you didn't have to worry about paying for anything. Like your sole focus was for 8 years. Focus on this one Olympic sport and you got to win a medal. What sport would it be? Like what sport would you, winter, summer, what would you commit all your time to and try and win a medal?
Spin Chicklets talked about this in a recent episode.
They might have. I haven't listened to it.
I don't know. Like I definitely wouldn't do hockey because I could train for years and I still wouldn't be good. Oh my God. 8 years?
You got 8 years. So you pretty much the 2032 Summer Olympics or 2034 Winter Olympics, whatever.
Oh my God.
The one that I saw today was rock climbing. So it was just who could get to the top fastest, and they do it. The girls do it in like 6 seconds, and I'm like, I feel like realistically, if I was given 8, it's not. I don't think it's super high, but if I was given 8 years to try and perfect this, I think I could try and go out there and try and win a medal.
Shooting accuracy. I feel like I could do that. Or the one thing that the Turkish guy was doing. I don't know. I don't know. Like, give 8 years. I probably could perfect that in 8 years.
There's a lot I think you definitely could in 8 years, but I feel like there's also some where you'd be like, oh, that would be easy because one that I brought up was ping pong. I'm like, 8 years of ping pong, I could do that, but then I'm like, hold on, my buddies was like, there's kids who have been training for this since they've been like 12. Like he's like, here's a video of a 6-year-old playing ping pong. I don't even think in 8 years you'd be able to beat him. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're probably right.
Yeah, I think you got to go with like a little bit of a team sport. So that way, like if you're not feeling it like that, like I'm going straight back to curling and like 8 years to perfect curling. I think that's the only way I'm walking away with a a medal, and I gotta have friends to like carry me a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. Yeah, that's probably what I would resort to. Oh my God, that's a good question, man. Yeah, I guess like definitely like curling or something. Wow.
I feel like it's almost got to be one where like it's not super like not physical is the word, but like where you're relying on physical skill. It's all like skill that you can actually like build up. So it's not like hockey where it's like, oh, I'm like this is my top speed. I'll never be able to pass this top speed or anything like that, right? But it's one where you can be like, okay, I can work on being more accurate at this. I can work on these other things, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like I can do archery pretty well. Like I used to teach archery at summer camps, and like I got those groupings down pretty tight. It's just like I was only shooting from 20 yards rather than the 25 that they did, so I don't know where I'd be at that point. But I feel like I could get by as like a solo sport with archery.
Yeah, I feel like that could be kind of easy too. And like honestly, like 8 years, like you're getting like almost a decade to train. So I think that if you do it every day for 8 years, you could very well do it. But again, as Carter said, like there's guys that have been doing it since they've been like kids.
Yeah, like you look at like pretty much any sport, there's people who have been doing it since they've been 6 and might not ever get close to sniffing a medal, right? And this is all they've done, all they've known, the only sport they've ever cared about has been this.
But then there's also some schmuck that shows up who only trained for a handful of weeks and then it ends up winning like silver or something. So like, sometimes you just feel it.
Yeah.
How about running? Could you guys like the sprints?
No.
Could you guys do that?
I'm slow and I have the weirdest running form.
Yeah, I did cross country in grade 12 because there was no one on our team and my coach was just like, I need someone. I was like, okay. And I would literally hack darts before I would do like a 6-kilometer run and then like go pick up like a bronze because there's 3 people running at the same time. Wow. So yeah, I could not be the runner.
Me neither. That's all I got for this episode of the NordCast. Carter, you got anything else?
No, but thank you, Angus, so much for coming on and talking Jets with us.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I had a ton of fun.
Where can I get a Jets Nation sweatshirt?
This is an Oilers Nation sweatshirt. I have been begging the Nation Network since I started for Jets Nation gear, and we were this close at one point, and then they're like, no Jets Nation gear. So, and then I almost made bootleg Jets Nation gear at one point, and then they found out about it, and they're like, you can't do this. I'm like, so close to having my own Jets Nation gear. Well, so maybe this year.
Make one personally. Like, why? Like, why? Like, I mean, I'm actually trying to find them. And, like, I saw, like, Oilers Nation, Canucks Nation, Daily Face-Off. I saw everything but the Jets. I'm like, what the hell?
Listen, it's because they hate us. They're just like, Winnipeg doesn't deserve shit. I'm sure Gary Bettman has something going on where he's just like, listen, Jets Nation, you can't let it be a thing. And he's just got some long-haired fool trying to make Jets Nation into a legitimate thing.
We endorse Jets Nation to get merchandise.
I agree.
Thank you.
I will sign.
I'm going to clip this and send it. Oh, yeah, perfect.
Post it on the Instagram. Well, like what?
Start a petition. I will post it everywhere.
You're a saint there, Carter.
I got you.
Well, Angus, thank you so much for coming on. We greatly appreciate it. It's been awesome
to
talk to you. This good hour and a half here. Perfect.
Yeah, I know, right? Into the wee hours of the morning. Bless you for staying up this late.
Yeah, it's 1:24 in the morning here in my end, guys. It's actually Thursday now. Yeah.
Well, it's Thursday for us, too.
Oh, yeah, it is. That's right. Things we do for the podcast, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you guys have a good night.
Yep, you too. All right, that'll do it for episode number 66. I'm losing my mind. 66 of the NordCast. If you enjoyed on the YouTube end of things, be sure to give us a like, subscribe down below. If you're watching on the audio end of things, give us a good review, tell your friends. If you want to follow the NordCast Instagram, follow at NordCast _. If you want to follow the NordCast TikTok, follow at NordCast. If you want to follow the NordCast Twitter, follow at NordCast _. Carter socials will be down below. So will Angus's or Jet Nation stuff down below. But regardless, thank you for watching or listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Adios.
Peace.